One of the biggest mistakes many men make when it comes to attraction is expecting it to be obvious. They imagine that if a woman is interested, she will say something clear, flirt openly, or make the situation unmistakable. But real human attraction rarely works that way. In most cases, desire does not announce itself loudly. Instead, it appears quietly through small behaviors, subtle gestures, and tiny shifts in how someone interacts with you. These signals are easy to miss, especially if you are not used to paying attention to them. Many men look back at past interactions and suddenly realize something surprising. A conversation that once seemed ordinary may have contained moments of closeness they did not recognize at the time. Maybe she stood a little closer than necessary. Maybe she maintained eye contact longer than usual. Maybe she found small reasons to continue the conversation even when there was no real need. At the time, these moments might have felt random, but later, when you think about them again, the pattern becomes clearer. Those small behaviors were often signals that curiosity or attraction had already begun to develop. The reason these signals are so subtle is simple. For many women, expressing attraction directly can feel vulnerable. If the interest is not returned, the situation can become uncomfortable. Because of this, many women communicate interest in ways that allow them to explore the interaction without fully exposing their feelings. They test the atmosphere. They observe how you respond to small moments of connection. They pay attention to your body language, your tone, and your confidence during conversation. If the interaction feels comfortable and safe, those signals often become stronger. But if the response feels awkward or uncertain, they may quietly pull back without saying anything directly. This is why many opportunities for connection are missed. Not because someone lacked charm or confidence, but simply because they did not recognize the signals appearing right in front of them. Understanding these signals can completely change how you see social interactions. Once you begin paying attention to subtle behaviors, you start noticing moments that once seemed invisible. Conversations begin to feel more meaningful, and the signals of attraction become easier to recognize. And when you recognize them, you are no longer guessing. You are simply responding to the quiet language of human connection that has been there all along. To truly understand these signals, it helps to recognize an important difference in how attraction is often expressed. Many men and women experience desire in similar ways emotionally, but the way they communicate it can look very different. Men often express interest directly. When a man feels attracted to someone, he may compliment her, start a conversation, or make his intentions clear through confident behavior. His approach tends to move forward openly because culturally and socially, men are often expected to take initiative. Women, however, frequently communicate attraction in a more indirect way. Instead of openly stating their interest, they often create opportunities for connection. They observe how the other person responds before moving closer emotionally. This approach allows them to explore the interaction without exposing themselves to immediate rejection. Think of it as a different communication style. Rather than declaring interest outright, a woman may allow the interaction to unfold step by step. She might start with friendly conversation, then gradually show more curiosity about the other person. These moments may appear small. She may laugh more during conversation, maintain longer eye contact, or show subtle signs of comfort through her body language. Each of these signals is a way of testing the emotional atmosphere between two people. This process often happens unconsciously. A woman may not even realize she is doing it. Her behavior simply reflects the way attraction and curiosity are beginning to develop internally. Another reason this indirect communication exists is emotional safety. Showing interest directly can feel risky. If the feeling is not shared, it can create embarrassment or awkwardness. By expressing attraction subtly, a woman can explore the interaction while still protecting her confidence. If the other person responds positively, the connection naturally becomes stronger. If the response feels distant or uncertain, she can step back without feeling exposed. This is why awareness matters so much during social interaction. Many men expect attraction to appear in obvious ways, so they overlook the quieter signals that actually reveal growing interest. But when you understand this difference in communication style, things begin to make more sense. You start noticing the small changes in behavior that indicate comfort, curiosity, and emotional openness. These subtle signals are often the beginning of something much deeper. They show that the interaction is moving beyond simple conversation and entering a space where attraction may be quietly forming. Now that you understand the difference in how attraction is often expressed, the next question becomes important. Why do these subtle signals exist in the first place? Why do so many interactions rely on hints and small gestures instead of direct communication? The answer lies in how people naturally protect their emotions. When someone begins to feel attracted to another person, there is always a level of uncertainty. No one wants to risk rejection or embarrassment, especially in social environments where others might be watching. Because of this, many people rely on indirect signals to explore the situation. These signals act like small tests. They allow someone to move a little closer emotionally while still maintaining control of the situation. If the other person responds positively, the interaction continues to grow. If not, it becomes easy to step back without creating an uncomfortable moment. This pattern appears frequently in social psychology. People often reveal their interest gradually rather than all at once. They may begin by showing curiosity, asking questions, or maintaining longer conversations than necessary. Over time, these small actions create a sense of familiarity and connection. Attraction often develops through these small steps. Each moment of positive interaction reduces uncertainty. When someone feels comfortable, they become more relaxed in the conversation. Their body language opens up, their tone becomes warmer, and their attention focuses more on the person in front of them. This gradual process also builds emotional safety. Emotional safety is one of the most important elements in human connection. When people feel safe, they are more willing to reveal their true thoughts and feelings. Subtle signals help create that safety instead of forcing the interaction forward with direct statements. These signals allow the connection to grow naturally. Both people can explore the dynamic without pressure. For example, someone might extend a conversation longer than necessary, ask a slightly more personal question, or share a small detail about their life. Each of these actions adds another layer of connection. These behaviors may seem ordinary, but together they create a clear pattern. Once you understand this pattern, it becomes much easier to recognize when attraction might be present. Instead of waiting for bold declarations, you begin paying attention to the quieter signals that appear during interaction. Those signals often reveal far more than words. They show when curiosity has turned into genuine interest, and when a simple conversation may be slowly evolving into something more meaningful. To recognize these subtle signals more clearly, it helps to understand the role of body language in human attraction. Words are only one part of communication. In fact, psychologists often point out that a large portion of what we communicate happens without speaking at all. Body language reveals emotions that people may not consciously express. The way someone stands, the direction their body faces, how often they look at you, and even the small movements of their hands can reveal how comfortable or interested they feel in a moment. When attraction begins to develop, these nonverbal signals often change. For example, someone who is curious about you may begin facing their body toward you more directly during conversation. Instead of turning away or looking around the room, their attention remains focused on the interaction. Eye contact also becomes more consistent. Rather than brief glances that quickly move away, the person may hold your gaze slightly longer. These longer moments of eye contact create a sense of connection because they signal that the person is fully engaged with you. Another important detail is posture. When someone feels relaxed and interested, their posture tends to open up. Their shoulders remain relaxed, their arms are less likely to cross defensively, and their movements appear natural rather than guarded. These physical cues often appear without conscious thought. The body simply responds to the emotional atmosphere of the interaction. When someone feels safe and curious about the person they are speaking with, their body naturally reflects that comfort. Smiles and facial expressions also play a major role. A genuine smile tends to involve more than just the mouth. The eyes soften and the overall expression appears warm rather than forced. These authentic expressions often signal that someone is enjoying the interaction and feels comfortable continuing the conversation. What makes body language so powerful is its honesty. While words can sometimes be chosen carefully or controlled, body language is much harder to disguise. Small reactions appear naturally, revealing emotions that might not be spoken aloud. This is why learning to observe body language can change the way someone understands social interactions. Instead of relying only on what people say, you begin noticing how they behave during conversation. These behaviors often reveal whether someone feels relaxed, curious, or emotionally engaged. When several of these signals appear together, open, sustained eye contact, relaxed gestures, and genuine smiles, they often indicate that the interaction carries more than simple friendliness. They suggest that attraction may be quietly growing beneath the surface. One of the earliest and clearest signals that attraction may be developing often appears through physical contact. Not dramatic contact or obvious gestures, but small touches that seem to happen naturally during conversation. These touches usually appear casually. A woman might lightly touch your arm while laughing at something you said. She might briefly place her hand on your shoulder while making a point during a story. Sometimes she may give a playful nudge when joking about something in the conversation. At first glance, these moments can seem insignificant. Many men assume they are simply friendly gestures or part of normal conversation, and sometimes they are. But when these touches happen repeatedly, especially during moments of shared laughter or emotional connection, they can signal something deeper. The key detail is intention. When someone feels attracted to another person, their body often seeks ways to reduce physical distance. Touch becomes a natural way to confirm closeness and connection. This reaction is not always planned. In many cases, it happens instinctively. A woman may not consciously decide to touch your arm or shoulder. Instead, her body simply responds to the emotional comfort she feels during the interaction. Another important detail is the timing of the touch. These gestures often occur during moments when the emotional energy of the conversation is high. When both people are laughing, sharing excitement, or enjoying the moment, physical contact can appear as a natural extension of that positive feeling. The duration of the touch can also reveal something. A brief tap might simply be part of conversation, but when the contact lasts slightly longer than necessary, it may indicate that the person feels comfortable with the closeness and does not feel the need to immediately pull away. This moment of comfort matters. Physical touch requires a certain level of trust. When someone allows contact without tension or hesitation, it often means they feel relaxed around the person they are interacting with. However, context is always important. One gesture alone does not automatically mean attraction. Some people are naturally expressive and comfortable with physical interaction in general. That is why it is important to observe patterns rather than focusing on a single moment. When touch appears together with other signals, engaged conversation, frequent eye contact, and relaxed body language, it becomes much more meaningful. These small gestures can reveal that the interaction has moved beyond simple politeness and into a space where emotional curiosity and attraction may already be beginning to grow. When physical contact begins to appear during interaction, the most important thing to observe is not just the touch itself, but the emotional comfort surrounding it. Touch can happen in many situations, but what truly reveals interest is how relaxed the moment feels for both people. Comfort is the key signal. When a woman feels comfortable around someone, her body language becomes more open. She does not immediately pull away from brief contact, and her movements remain natural rather than tense. The conversation continues smoothly, as if the moment of contact was completely normal. This reaction tells you something important. Her nervous system does not perceive the interaction as threatening or uncomfortable. Instead, it interprets the closeness as safe and familiar. That sense of safety allows the conversation to continue without awkwardness. Another detail to watch for is how she behaves after the touch happens. If she keeps engaging in conversation, maintains eye contact, and continues smiling or laughing naturally, it suggests that the interaction still feels comfortable for her. Her attention remains focused on the connection rather than creating distance. Sometimes the opposite reaction reveals even more. If someone suddenly steps back, crosses their arms, or changes the subject quickly, these behaviors may signal discomfort. The body instinctively restores distance when it feels uncertain. This is why emotional awareness is so important during interaction. Understanding attraction is not about creating physical moments intentionally. Instead, it is about recognizing how someone naturally responds to closeness. When the interaction feels relaxed and mutual, physical gestures become part of the conversation, rather than something separate from it. Confidence also plays a role here. When a man reacts calmly to these moments, it creates a sense of stability. He does not overreact, become nervous, or suddenly change his behavior. Instead, he remains present and comfortable with the flow of conversation. This calm response can make the interaction feel even more natural. People often mirror the emotional energy of the person they are speaking with. When someone appears relaxed and confident, the other person is more likely to feel the same way. Over time, these small moments of comfort begin to build something stronger. Touch, conversation, and shared attention start to form a pattern of connection. What began as simple friendliness can slowly evolve into something more personal. Understanding these reactions helps reveal whether the closeness between two people is simply casual or whether it reflects a deeper level of comfort and growing attraction. Another signal that often appears when attraction begins to grow involves eye contact. While touch can reveal comfort with physical closeness, eye contact reveals something deeper. It shows emotional attention. where someone directs their gaze says a lot about what they are thinking and feeling. In everyday conversations, people tend to look around frequently. They glance at their surroundings, check their phone, or briefly look away while listening. These behaviors are normal and usually reflect casual interaction rather than deep engagement. But when attraction begins to develop, the quality of eye contact often changes. A woman who feels curious about someone may begin holding eye contact slightly longer than usual. Instead of quick glances that last only a moment, her gaze may remain steady for a few seconds while the conversation continues. This longer eye contact creates a subtle sense of connection. Looking directly into someone's eyes activates emotional awareness. It makes both people feel more present in the interaction. When that gaze lasts a little longer than what feels socially neutral, it can create a quiet moment of tension that signals interest. Another detail to watch for is the rhythm of her gaze. Sometimes she may look directly at you, then briefly look away before returning her attention again. This pattern can repeat during conversation. The movement of looking away and then back again often reflects curiosity mixed with a natural sense of shyness or self-awareness. These reactions are usually unconscious. Most people do not actively think about how they use eye contact. Their behavior simply reflects how engaged they feel during the moment. Smiling can also accompany this type of gaze. When someone looks at you with a relaxed smile, it often indicates that they are enjoying the interaction. The combination of a genuine smile and steady eye contact creates a strong sense of emotional connection. What makes eye contact powerful is its ability to create intimacy without physical contact. Two people can feel a strong connection simply by maintaining attention on each other. That shared focus creates a moment where the outside environment fades slightly into the background. However, just like with touch, context matters. One glance alone does not reveal attraction. But when longer eye contact appears repeatedly alongside other signals, such as relaxed body language, shared laughter, comfortable conversation, it often becomes part of a clear pattern. This pattern reveals that the interaction carries more meaning than simple politeness. It suggests that curiosity and emotional engagement are growing between the two people involved. Beyond simple attention, eye contact has a powerful psychological effect on human connection. When two people maintain eye contact for longer than usual, something interesting begins to happen inside the brain. Eye contact activates emotional awareness. The brain becomes more focused on the person in front of you. Distractions fade into the background and the interaction starts to feel more personal. This is why moments of sustained eye contact can sometimes feel intense, even if nothing is being said. When a woman holds eye contact during conversation, it often signals that she is fully engaged in the moment. She is not just listening out of politeness. Her attention is directed toward you, and that attention creates a small space of emotional connection between both of you. In psychology, this kind of interaction is often linked to the development of intimacy. Intimacy does not always begin with physical closeness. Sometimes it begins with silent understanding. Two people simply sharing a moment of focus and presence can create a feeling of familiarity that did not exist before. Eye contact also allows people to read emotional signals more clearly. Facial expressions become easier to interpret. A small smile, a raised eyebrow, or a relaxed expression can communicate feelings that words might never express directly. This is why many conversations feel deeper when eye contact is maintained. When someone looks at you while speaking, it shows respect and interest in the interaction. It tells you that your presence matters in that moment. Another interesting aspect of eye contact is how it affects emotional tension. When two people look at each other slightly longer than expected, there is often a brief pause in the flow of conversation. This pause can create a subtle sense of anticipation. That anticipation is often where attraction begins to grow. The moment feels different from ordinary conversation. It feels more focused, more personal, and slightly more intense. Of course, context remains important. Not every instance of eye contact means attraction. Some people naturally maintain strong eye contact with everyone they speak to. That is why observing patterns over time is essential. When prolonged eye contact appears alongside other signals such as relaxed posture, engaged conversation, and moments of shared laughter, it often becomes part of a larger picture. That picture reveals growing interest and emotional curiosity. Understanding the role of eye contact helps you see conversations differently. Instead of focusing only on spoken words, you begin noticing the silent moments where connection quietly forms between two people. The third signal that often reveals growing attraction is something many people completely overlook. It is not about touch or eye contact, but about the way someone shapes the environment around the interaction. When a woman feels increasingly interested in someone, she may begin creating moments where the two of you can interact more privately. This does not necessarily mean complete isolation. Instead, it often appears as subtle changes in how the conversation unfolds. For example, imagine you are both in a group setting. Several people are talking and the atmosphere is social and busy. Suddenly, she suggests stepping aside to continue the conversation more comfortably. She might ask if you want to walk over to the bar together, show you something across the room, or move to a quieter corner where the conversation feels easier. At first glance, this may seem like a simple change in location, but psychologically, it often carries deeper meaning. Social environments can make it difficult for two people to focus on each other. Noise, interruptions, and other conversations constantly compete for attention. When someone intentionally shifts the interaction into a quieter space, it creates an opportunity for deeper connection. This shift allows both people to focus more fully on each other. The conversation often becomes slightly more personal when distractions disappear. Voices soften, eye contact becomes more consistent, and the interaction begins to feel more intentional. Creating these moments of privacy can signal that someone wants the conversation to develop further. It gives both people a chance to explore the connection without the pressure of a larger audience. Instead of being just another part of a group conversation, the interaction becomes something shared between the two of you. Many men miss this moment entirely. They assume the change in environment happened randomly, or that it was simply about convenience. But when this behavior appears alongside other signals, such as comfortable touch and longer eye contact, it often forms part of a clear pattern. This pattern suggests that the interaction has moved beyond casual conversation. The woman is no longer simply participating in a social situation. She is creating a space where the connection between you can grow. Once that space exists, the quality of the interaction often changes naturally. Conversations become more relaxed, laughter feels more genuine, and both people begin to focus more on each other than on what is happening around them. Recognizing this moment can make a significant difference. It allows you to understand that the interaction may be entering a deeper stage of connection rather than remaining a simple social exchange. When you step back and look at these signals together, a clear pattern begins to appear. Attraction is rarely communicated through one dramatic gesture. Instead, it usually reveals itself through a series of small behaviors that gradually build on each other. A light touch during conversation, a longer moment of eye contact, a shift toward a quieter space where the two of you can interact more personally. Each of these moments alone might seem ordinary, but when they appear together, they often tell a different story. They suggest that the interaction has moved beyond simple politeness and into a space where curiosity and attraction may already be present. This is why paying attention to patterns is so important. Many men focus on individual moments and try to analyze them in isolation. They wonder whether one smile or one glance means something specific. In reality, attraction becomes much clearer when you observe the overall flow of the interaction. When someone consistently shows comfort, attention, and a desire to continue the conversation, the message often becomes obvious. Another important lesson to remember is that these signals are invitations, not guarantees. They create opportunities for connection, but they do not force a particular outcome. The way you respond to these moments matters just as much as the signals themselves. Confidence and calmness often create the best response. When someone reacts naturally, remains relaxed, and continues engaging in the conversation without pressure, it keeps the interaction comfortable for both people. This kind of response shows emotional awareness. It signals that you are present in the moment rather than trying to control the situation. And that presence often makes the interaction feel more authentic. Authenticity is what allows attraction to grow naturally. People are drawn to those who appear comfortable with themselves and respectful of the interaction. When both individuals feel safe and valued, connection can deepen without effort. Understanding these signals changes the way you experience social interactions. Instead of feeling uncertain about what someone might be thinking, you begin recognizing the subtle language that people use to express interest. Touch, eye contact, and shared moments of privacy often reveal far more than words alone. Once you learn to notice these patterns, you start seeing opportunities for connection that once seemed invisible. And when you respond to those moments with awareness and confidence, the entire interaction can take on a completely new group.